Hey everyone at HellCon 2018, Michael Wright here from Unfiltered Gamer, where we do board game reviews, card game reviews, previews, and all that other good stuff, mainly on Kickstarter, and I'm here to talk to you guys about something that a lot of people who make games are very interested in knowing, and it's a lot of things that are not really presented that should be, I think, involving reviewers, the process beforehand, what reviewers expect from game designers, and what game designers should expect from reviewers. So we're going to go through this point by point, just give a couple of things. I wish I could be there to do a Q&A with you, but I can't, so I'm going to be as thorough as I possibly can while being brief as well. I know that sounds kind of strange, but let's go ahead and get to it. So what do reviewers expect to see in your prototype? Well, actually, it's kind of a range. Some people can get away with something as simple as getting a box, a cardboard box, and just taping on their top, sticker portion and whatnot, or just even a card box would work just fine. Other people like to go with something more like a nicer quality, or even this is even a prototype right here. You can see how nice they are with full art, but it's kind of up to you. Most reviewers don't mind. I guess the standard rule is the higher the reach of the reviewer, the more they expect to have a better quality game to show you. But really, it's important for you to show a quality game because that is what is going to be presented either in written or in visual form on media. So you want to have a nice looking game there. I would say a box isn't necessarily needed, but nice cards. Don't use paper. Don't use chits that are like actually just cardboard that, are not actually cardboard chits. It's really cheap to go on some sites like the Game Crafter and other ones like that, where you can pick up a nice copy of your game for not too expensive and still give people a good idea of what your game's going to look like. You don't need miniatures. Obviously, the more production value, the more marketing, the better it's going to be for your campaign, but I don't think that you need to go too far out. And I think reviewers that ask for something like, or expect certain things above and beyond, like the miniatures and whatnot, no, not necessarily. Also, to note, whenever it comes to keeping a game or passing it on, right? There's two different things. If you're doing if you're giving a game to a reviewer, right, and they are not wanting to send it out. You spend a lot of money on those prototypes, and I can understand that. But if a reviewer is doing a free review for you, it's a lot of time and energy doing the editing, doing the filming, especially a good job, right? And so when they do that, you can't expect them to have to also do the post office and all of that. If they do, it's super, super nice of them. But generally speaking, if you want to have them send it out, and you're going to have all these extra time constraints and whatnot, which we'll get into in a little bit, then you're probably going to want to pay them something or a donation of some kind, because otherwise it gets very tedious, especially when I've got 40, 50 games here, and I have to remember dates for shipping them out to each and every other address. Oh my gosh, don't even get me started for a 1 to 2 man crew compared to something that's more of a 6 or 7 man crew. But that's kind of what you can expect from a reviewer, is once they get the game, that they should stick to their word. If they say they're going to produce a content for you in a specific time, that's great, and that's what they should be doing. However, it comes down to 3 different principles. I think it works on a lot of different businesses, and a lot of people don't take this into account. First of all is time, right? Time is one asset. The second thing we look at is, let me go look at my notes here, is quality and then price. You can have 2 of the 3. That's the best you can do. So if you want time and you want quality, then it's going to cost you something. If you want quality and you want it to not cost anything, then it's going to take a long time. And if you want to be really quick and you want to be really nice looking, then it's going to cost you. So those 3 things, however you want to pick it apart, you can only have 2 of them, right? Without having to suffer one of the other things. That's generally how it's going to work. You might have some Mother Teresa's out there, but otherwise expect people to expect something from their time. You would as well. So that's something to keep in consideration. How ready should my prototype be? Well, the game has to be playable. The rules have to be legible. You don't need to go over everything with a thin tooth comb, but you want to be presentable so where people can understand what you're doing. This all comes down to blind playtesting. If you have not blind playtested your game, do not send your game to a reviewer. A reviewer is not somebody who is a playtester. We're not going to go and sit there and give you notes for your game. The nicest of reviewers will just choose not to review your game, which is generally what I would do. The meanest of reviewers are going to put out a hit piece on you, and you're going to lose a lot of credibility, and it's going to be really hard for people to want to back your game or buy your game, depending on if you're trying to self-publish or Kickstarter or whatever. So you want to make sure that the game's all there and easily understandable and full of blind playtests. If nothing else, make sure the mechanics work. The art and whatnot, that's all subjectable, but there are certain things that are objective truths, right? Coherent grammar, and as well as making sure your game's playtested so that people can play the game without you sitting there and watching them like a hawk. but it's very important to do that. Legible rules. And also, too, the editing and all that can take place after the campaign and whatnot. There's a lot of things you can do after the campaign that's relevant that is needed early on, right? You can put a lot of your ducks in a row in marketing, because marketing is very important. Speaking of marketing, reviewers are not necessarily marketers. I could do a review on your product, but that doesn't necessarily mean I am going to market your product. I'm not going to be posting about it every single day. I am going to produce content, or whatever it is you're asking the reviewer to do, or they say they will do, depending on what you're doing, whether it's paid or free or somewhere in the middle there. Maybe you're going to give them a game. That would be probably somewhere in the middle. You're going to get whatever they have to offer. Most of the time it's not marketing. Marketing is going to be like banner ads and all these kind of ads and whatnot, commercials, sponsorships. What you're going to get is a video, most likely, or a written document in which that you can send your backers to. Most reviews are what they call fence jumpers. You're going to be having somebody who wants to purchase your game, but they're right there on the fence. They don't know if they want to pick it up. It seems good, but they're not sure, so they're going to look at their favorite reviewers. Maybe there's 3 or 4 of them on your channel. The more reviews, the better on a Kickstarter video, Kickstarter project. So they'll watch a couple of them, and if they're 3 or 4 best reviewers that they like, watched it and played it and enjoyed it, then they're going to actually probably more than likely pick it up. You're going to get those people that are on the fence to jump right over. And so that's very important. And you want to have all your reviews done on the first day. So you should expect reviewers to make sure your content is due on that day. However, it's just like any other business. It is likely that things are going to happen in which a video might take a little longer. That being said, if you have a Kickstarter that starts on January 1st and the reviewer doesn't drop it off until January 20th, then if you've given anything, then you are going to retroactively not. Like some kind of like dilemma is going to occur there. But if you're just giving out games to review and somebody ends up not reviewing it, I would suggest not being too upset. Yes, they broke their word, and I personally haven't done this. I've never been more late than a day or two. But I can understand when somebody's got 60 games, they're doing it for free, and it's something they do part-time as a hobby on the weekends, then it's more understandable, right? And hopefully, they are going to be keeping in contact with you. Obviously, it's a moral dilemma for them, and they're probably not going to get a review from you ever again, or most people. And you can go ahead and voice your opinion on why they shouldn't. And I fully respect that. But at the same time, if you're paying somebody or to do a preview or whatever it is, marketing, those are things that are expected of reviewers. These are things that we need to produce as quickly as possible. Yeah, we might miss a day or something like that, and you have to kind of understand that that's going to happen in any kind of business, but nevertheless, things need to have follow through when it comes to donations, right? The whole same thing, right? Quality, time, and whatever you want to call it, price, right? Those are the 3 things. So that is what I've got to talk about with this. Let's go on to the next topic. So when should you contact me for a review of your game? Well, to be honest, depends on how much money you want to spend. I do free reviews, right? And a lot of reviewers do it as well. Some of them charge for previews and whatnot, but really it comes down to I'm always offering free reviews. However, if you're going to make me do that review in a week and you also want me to do a full editing job and whatnot, that's when it comes down to my time. However, if you give me 3 months in advance to work on the game and play it and make my video, I'm going to have more free time available to me to be able to do that. And I set up a queue. I think a lot of reviewers set up queues to allow people to be able to send their game way early and get reviews. Now, I don't speak for anybody but myself, but I prefer games way in advance. It's really easy for me to be able to make videos and schedule things up, but my livelihood also says, or my extra income also says, hey, if you want to send me it in a week, I can go ahead and get together people, and I have my cameraman, I have editors, I have people that I have to kind of generate income for when it comes down to like these quick deadlines, and so that's really important. For me personally, what I would recommend to you though is to get your game out as quick as possible to the reviewer before your campaign. 3 to 6 months for a lot of the bigger ones too. They expect a long period of time, and even if you do pay them for a preview or whatever, they will expect at least that amount of time. Not everybody is going to be as quick at creating review videos as you'd probably like them to be. And you also want to have your marketing out quicker. I mean, previous to the campaign. A lot of people, your campaign will whiz by them because they never know you exist. So it's very important to do your marketing and your reviews, all that kind of stuff before, in advance, and then throughout the campaign. Don't wait until after. It's not a good idea. As well as we're going to talk about coherency of the game, the mechanics and all that. you want to make sure your game is fully fleshed out. That comes back down to blind playtesting, and I think a lot of people are pretty aware that that is an important aspect, but for designers that are new, it's kind of something that they don't really think about. They sit there and they play with their friends and whatnot, and their friends give them that kind of biased response, whether or not it's you know, factual or whether they mean to. It comes off kind of disingenuous because they don't actually have the ability to sit down with people they haven't played this game with before, or play this with people that are not involved in the game in the process. So it's best to have that separation between the designer and the players. And when you have that, you get an idea of also the rules too, and how kind of it messes with people if the designer's in there to correct things and whatnot. And it'll show you how and what's important about changing the specific rules to make it more coherent. Sometimes you would think shuffling a deck wouldn't be very important, and it is, because not everybody knows to shuffle your deck after you've, you know, in a deck builder, you've put all your cards in the discard pile and you've taken them to recreate a new deck. Sometimes people don't think about that, or they don't know that. Not everybody's played a deck builder before, so that's really, really important. But yeah, these are the main aspects for reviewers. If you have any questions from me, I'd be happy to answer them. You can go ahead and contact us at unfilteredgamer.com. We have tons of blog posts, Kickstarter reviews, previews, product reviews. We've been reviewing on stuff for about 2 years now, something like that. We get all kinds of stuff. We get cool things like this here. This is a little dice tower, and we got tables and all kinds of really cool stuff, and a lot of interesting products. And we'd be happy to give any advice we possibly can for you, especially if you're making new campaign stuff. We're very happy to support you guys any way we can. If you were just listening to me ramble on, and you're not really a designer, maybe you're just thinking about it, or maybe you just wanted to hear me talk, I appreciate you guys taking the time to see what all this was about. Reviewing is actually pretty insane. You would think that we actually play a lot of games here. It's not really true. We maybe play one game a day, maybe. Most of our time is spent editing and filming, what I'm doing right now. This is the majority, the bulk of what I do all day long. That's why my voice is almost always gone out. So the life of a reviewer, if you're ever curious, is pretty heavy on the computer, unfortunately. Not as much community engagement as I would like, but it's still a lot of fun, and I really enjoy doing that because I get to do things like this, fun things like this, where I talk to people like you. So also, if you would, you can go ahead and subscribe to us. We have a YouTube, there's the website, and there's the Facebook and all that other stuff. If you'd like to do that, feel free, and thank you very much. I really do appreciate you guys taking a chance to watch my video. I hope you guys have a hell of a time at HellCon 2018. Well, I'll see you guys next time.